Hello everybody and welcome to another Marvel Legends review. In today's video I'm going to be taking a look at the complete Marvel's X-Men Build-A-Figure Apocalypse Wave, consisting of Wolverine, Magneto, Gladiator, Sabretooth, Storm, Multiple Man and Psylocke. Starting off this wave we have the Tiger Stripes version of Wolverine, the one that I've come to know and love from the 90s cartoon. We've got some artwork on the side of the box, and on the back of the box we have a very dynamic picture with a brief bio. And here we have him out of his plastic prison. Now he comes with Apocalypse's tentacles, or tentaci? I don't know what the plural is. Just pretty bog standard, nothing untoward, nothing that we haven't already had in the past. They just peg him. And we also get a set of clenched fists minus the holes where the claws go, which is nice because he doesn't always have his claws out. And there we have my personal favourite rendition of Wolverine. Now, we've had this body before on several versions of Wolverine, but this paint scheme, I believe, is the first time they've done it. Especially loving those metallic blue shoulders. We have those ball jointed claws, so we can aim them as we see fit, and you can remove them, so he has just 1, 2 or 3 claws at a time. Now I would have liked some hair painted on those arms. It looks like he's kind of shaved it off. Really menacing, grimacing expression on his face there, isn't it? Paint applications are pretty good. Can't see any glaring issues. The belt does rotate, thankfully, because it's slightly off center. There we go. I love these butterfly joints, so you can get Wolverine flying pose through the air with the claws down back. Oh, what a gorgeous looking figure. I have found my definitive Wolverine. Next up we have the magnetism manipulator himself, Marvel's Magneto. Love this black and red deco they've done him up in, and he comes with a nice alternative head there. If we take a look at the nice artwork on the side, that's the same on both. And on the back of the box we have a nice picture of Magneto with those glowing hands. There you go, look, the master manipulator of magnetism. Magneto looks fantastic out of the package. The suit and deco, I don't know if that's a modern take. It kind of looks Age of Apocalypse-y, which would make sense because we've got an Apocalypse figure here. Accessory wise, he does come with Apocalypse's arm, and already I do have a scuff or something on there. And you notice when you bend the arm that the wrist guard has some play in it. We've got a nice clenched fist on there, and I love that kind of pearlescent paint we've got going on. Look at those bulging veins. That's nice. I like that. That's good attention to detail. Magneto himself, the Eric head, I think is fantastic. This is pretty much what I remember from the cartoon, albeit I remember him looking straight at us and not kind of round corners. Love the hair. That's come out really nicely. We get 2 of these clenched fists, which is good. Good flying hands there. We get some magnetic sparkles, I guess. These are to go around the hands. Not really a fan of these. I don't see that we'd be able to see the magnetism, but there we go. I can't say that I like how they look. I would have preferred some form of metal or something, or a metallic sheet or something painted up to look like metal that he could kind of fly with. That would be my personal preference, but remove those. The hands are that translucent purple, reminds me very much of Wonder Man. Love the cape though. It sits nicely. It sits really nicely. I love these shoulder pads as well, although they don't sit as close to the chest as I would like. They do raise up. I might have to get a hairdryer on there just to adjust that. Let's just pop his helmeted head off and pop his normal head on. Oh, look at that. I mean, that is a customizer's dream right there. He looks incredible. Love that range on the legs. He's just one of those figures that you want to actually fly. He just hover. I'd love to have some sort of magnetic base there and have the reverse polarity in the feet just so he hovers just off the ground. Next up, we have one of the Shi'ar's heavy hitters. We have Marvel's Gladiator. Love how this guy looks. Great for those who missed him in that SDCC exclusive set. Got some nice artwork on the side there, making him look almost like Black Adam there as well. And on the back of the box, we have him in a very heroic pose and a very brief bio. Now, the heavy hitter comes with the Apocalypse head. Love those dark red eyes and that really menacing expression. Paint apps have been better. Apocalypse is a lot smaller than he used to be, but he does tend to grow and vary in size through different publications. Gladiator himself, I believe, this is the Hyperion body there. It does exactly what it needs to. We can get the neck right the way back, and we can bring those arms forward and kind of just rotate those in so we can get some really nice flying poses. Have these back. Love the cape. Would like that to kind of sit slightly further down there, but the head does sit a little bit loosely on that ball socket. I don't know if it's the way it's sculpted, but it kind of gets some really crazy range just on the ball alone. Then of course we can bring that all the way down. I mean, that's not natural. I don't know if the ball, if it's just not sitting in there properly, or whether they've extended it or made the hole extremely narrow. But either way, he can look up a fantastic amount. Absolutely love the sculpt on him though. Really does remind me of when he came swooping in on the X-Men cartoon. Now, I know the San Diego Comic-Con version has different paint applications. He's kind of got that shiny shimmer to him using the metallic paint. But I think I have this displayed in a flying pose. It doesn't really affect me having that shimmery paint. So I just wanted a really good looking Gladiator figure. And Hasbro have delivered. Now, we've had Wolverine, so it's time to take a look at his arch nemesis, Sabretooth. Really amazing artwork on the side there. Take a look at the back of the box. We have a brief bio on Sabretooth, and he looks angry, doesn't he? Now, before we take a closer look at Sabretooth, he does of course come with Apocalypse's second arm. Same as the first, we've got those pumping veins blistering through the pearlescent sheen. Absolutely love how that looks. Oh, and I seem to have a little spider crawling around as well. Don't know if you saw that on camera. It's just paid us a visit. Now, Sabretooth looks incredible. It's been a while since we've had a decent Sabretooth, in my opinion. I think there was one back in the Juggernaut wave. I could be wrong. I personally don't own that version. Now, in my opinion, he's obviously most comparable to the 2004 Toy Biz version, who is jam-packed with articulation, and the size is definitely on his side, but at the same time, sculpt on this guy is phenomenally good. Again, he's using that really big, stocky torso piece, and I would have liked some of those butterfly joints on the chest, much like we saw with Wolverine, but all in all, that's a gorgeous face sculpt. Love those fangs on there. Really does set him apart from the rest. Lovely range on that forearm as well. The gauntlet's not getting up. the gauntlets not getting in the way at all, and he can stand up without falling over as well. I love the stripes across the costume. It's a really refreshing take on Sabretooth. And am I the only one that actually liked the Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth? I know he's tiny, which makes no sense really because he's meant to be a beast, but I really like that. I think he's very underestimated. But yep, it's not about him, it's about this guy, and in my opinion, it's a definitive version of Sabretooth. This is how I remember him growing up. Next up, we have the Weather Witch herself, Aurora, aka Storm. Again, she comes with these kind of electricity pieces, same as what we got with Magneto, and as you can see, she's sporting her New Mutants get up as opposed to her X-Men suit. There's obviously her younger look by the looks of things, and just spinning around the box, we got some really nice artwork on the side, same on both, and on the back we get a very brief bio about the Mistress of Weather Manipulation. Before we take a look at Storm, let's take a look at the Apocalypse torso. Big chunky piece there. Love these massive shoulder pads, and again, really gorgeous rich colors. Just disappointing at how big this is in comparison to the likes of the old Giant Man and the old Apocalypse, even Galactus. Those were real builder figures. Yes, these definitely look the part, but man, we miss that Toy Biz scale. Now, I'm not going to even remotely touch on this lightning. It's the same as everything they do. They need to kind of think that up a bit, in my opinion. But Storm herself, she is gorgeous. Absolutely love how she looks. Definitely see a new Emma Frost coming. She's got that corset thing going on. Definitely see that being reused. Great skin tone. Love those lightning earrings. Looks like she's wearing some leather pants there as well. Really nicely done. Actually, one of my favourite female figures that I have today. Really love what they've done with Storm. Now I just need her in her X-Men get up. Next up on the slab, we have a look at Multiple Man. One of my favourites from the entire wave, not even because of the sculpt and the multiple heads, just because of the character. He's our first official X Factor member, and we've had like Havoc and Polaris, but not in the correct costumes. This is pretty much his X Factor costumes. Please give us a strong guy. There he is on the side there. And on the back, we get a pretty nice product shot and a very brief bio. Accessory-wise, he of course comes with Apocalypse's leg. This is the first leg that we've had. Got a really nice kind of boot sculpt on there. We get a peg hole. You have no idea how vitally important that is to my master plan of displays. Only time will tell what I mean. Love that pearlescent blue though. Not a fan of the black on the knee underneath that blue though. Really want that, in my opinion, to be this same sort of blue. Maybe they're worried about paint wear. Now, Multiple Man comes with a multiple heads. Personally, the smirk is my favorite. Love how that looks. Really clean-ish paint applications. It's not bad, you know, it's a pretty good line apart from that little dick. That little flick just here, but that's pretty good, isn't it? And then we've got with hair. That looks a little bit too much like Peter Parker for my liking. I know it's not, there's different hair, it is a different face, but I think just the way it's got that very matte blank expression, I think that's what's kind of making me think of Peter Parker, and the fact that this would look good on a Spider-Man body. But again, paint app's good. Comes down quite nicely around the neck and the ears. Yeah, they've done a good job. And lastly, he has that aggressive head on as standard. He really does mean business, doesn't he? The heads themselves, really nice. Love the ears that are sculpted into that hat section. His X Factor logo is nice and clean. No real blemishes on that stripe. The uniform itself, it's pretty crisp, not perfect. You can see there's some overspray on the yellow or overspray on the blue, whichever takes precedent. Well, here's rib cage there, and then we've got this really nice kind of just matte blue, but it does everything it needs to. And my leg is a bit loose. Interesting. Am I right in thinking is that like the Grim Reaper buck? I think that's the Grim Reaper buck under there. I can't really see, but we've had this trench coat before. The arms are probably similar, if not the same as what we got with Wolverine. He does have these fists up, which makes sense because as soon as there is impact there, he multiplies. Although I would have liked kind of one hand open maybe, so he can punch his hands. But basically, if he gets punched or if he punches somebody, then he then multiplies and they go off and do their own thing. They've even been known to live their very own independent lives, but some of them, majority of them, disappear. I'm just gonna switch that head out for my favorite one. This is the one that kind of reminds me of that episode of X-Men when Bobby comes in and he's looking for his girlfriend Polaris, and she is now with Havoc, and the X-Men face off against the X-Force, and you get Multiple Man trying to beat up the likes of Wolverine. Yeah, love how that looks. So if anybody wants to do me more of the Multiple Man for a good price, then please hit me up by sending me a message on here. Last but by no means least is the very gorgeous Psylocke. Really love how she looks. Nice artwork on the side of the box, and there we have the details on the back there. Have we had a blink yet as well? I'm not sure if we've had a blink. We could do with some more kind of out there characters, but again, we had this once before with one of the female characters. I want to say it was Typhoid Mary, where the picture on the back doesn't give this sculpt justice at all. Psylocke is lucky enough to get the second leg for Apocalypse. Like they've made this Apocalypse, and Psylocke was actually in the X-Men movie Apocalypse. So yeah. And actually Storm very much reminds me of the way she was portrayed in that movie as well. And there we go. See, that is a really nice face sculpt. I really don't think the box art does that any justice at all. Her leotard is kind of cut in really nicely there. I know there's a few customizers out there that could do a better job with paint applications on the leotard, kind of make it stand out more. But I'm happy with how that's come out. She does have a bit of a mess on her shoulder there. Really nice flowing locks. Now there is a running change. There's some that are coming out with a slightly different coloured outfit and purple hair. So again, still very in keeping with the character, but a really good look for her. As accessory wise, we get a katana sword, pretty much like we've seen before, but this time cast in that glowing pink with the spirals. Didn't we get a Psylocke figure not so long ago as part of San Diego Comic-Con? If we did, I'm sure we did. Let me know in the comments section below. I'm sure there was one of those. She's got Spike on one hand and sword on the other, and we can even do that energy crown just sits either side. Look at that. Let's just take a closer look. Just seeing the serial number there. It's got the belt that hangs down. Really nice. The lines could do with being a little bit tidied, and the flesh tones don't quite match. But all in all, still really nice to have a very young, attractive version of Psylocke. Right, next up, it's time to build Apocalypse. That was terrible. Oh, at least I'm trying. Let's make sure we get the right legs on the right joints. I was kind of trying to hold off doing this Apocalypse wave until I had a parcel arrive, but it's not got here in time, unfortunately. But I will do an update. Basically, it was a parcel with some builder figures in, and one of the builder figures was Titus from the Guardians wave, and he has a gun for an arm, and somebody had displayed Apocalypse with said gun arm, and it really did remind me of how he looked in the comics and the cartoon. Let's just stick that head on like so, and then we have these cables which we can stick in. One and two. Between this and a Mega Red, it really reminds me of the old Build-A-Figure Sentinels. And there we go. Now, he's definitely on the smaller side of the Apocalypses, very much likened to the series, was it series 7, or where they Toy Biz had a standard figure. I think it was a few waves before the giant builder figure they had, but he wasn't always towering over the X-Men, etc. Whenever we saw him, sometimes he just used to stand on top of things and point and send his disciples after them to battle. Really love how he's come out there. I mean, just compare him to Magneto as well. Really good scaling. Obviously, the Apocalypse in the X-Men movie, you tried to use Magneto as one of his disciples. What happens if Apocalypse picks Hulk? So you get War Hulk, and he looks great. And to give you an idea of his scale, here he is alongside Cable, Bishop, Strafe, and Hope. And here we have him hanging out with his bestie, one of my favourite builder figures at the moment, the mighty Sauron. Now, if you want to see the Sauron wave reviewed, just click that little information button at the top of the screen. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the new X-Men Apocalypse wave. Absolutely adore this wave. Some really good figures. If I was to rate them from worst to best, that would be really tough. I think, believe it or not, as much as I love him, I think Gladiator would have to be bottom of the pile. It's a really strong wave. And then I'll put Multiple Man? Oh god, it feels dirty just saying that, but he is a really good figure. Like I said, it's a tough wave. Then probably Psylocke, then Wolverine. I know he's a repaint, but he is my favourite Wolverine. Then I'll probably have to go Apocalypse, and then Storm. I absolutely adore that Storm figure. It's the first Storm that I've owned, and I love the sculpt. I love the outfit that she's wearing. I love those tight pants that she's got on, the lightning earrings, the hair. It's a gorgeous looking figure. Like I said, highly recommend this wave. I've included a link in the description below which takes you through to Robot Kingdom, which is where I purchased this wave from. And I've also included a link at the end of this video to the Marvel Legends playlist, and as previously mentioned, feel free to click that information button up here to watch my Sauron wave review. Until next time, for myself and Apocalypse, thanks for watching. Goodbye.